The crowd at the Mesa County livestock auction fell silent the moment the black stallion exploded into the ring. Dust swirled under his hooves as he reared high, striking at the air with the fury of a creature who had lost everything. 4 men held heavy ropes tied to his halter, their boots digging into the dirt as they struggled to control him. The auctioneer had not even lifted his gavel yet, but everyone in that dusty Colorado town already knew one thing. This horse was marked for death. No one expected a single man in the crowd to step forward and change the future of the most hated horse in the county. Wade Kellerman stood at the rail, his weathered hands gripping the cold metal as he watched the stallion fight against the ropes. His heart pulled tight at the sight of the animal's raw fear. Titan's black coat shined even under the dust and strain. Rope burns cut across his neck, scars ran over his ribs. His golden eyes burned with a deep, wounded intelligence. He was a wild creature dragged into a world that did not understand him and did not want him. Wade knew that feeling far too well. The auctioneer cleared his throat and spoke into the microphone. "Now, folks, this here is Titan. Trouble from the moment they caught him in the Rockies. 3 ranch hands already ended up in the hospital. Strong horse, smart horse, but wild as a storm. Be careful now." One of the handlers nodded, sweat rolling down his face. They all looked like men who wished they were anywhere but here. Wade studied Titan with the same calm he used when reading weather signs or judging cattle. He saw fear, yes, he saw fire too, but he did not see a killer. He saw a horse who had been pushed too hard, too fast, by hands that did not know patience. He saw a horse who needed one person willing to believe in him. "What am I bid?" the auctioneer called. Silence filled the bleachers. Some folks whispered that the animal should be put down before he hurt anyone else. Others shook their heads, wanting no part of the danger. Wade listened to the whispers. They reminded him of every place he had lived these past months. After losing his job for speaking up about safety, he had moved from ranch to ranch, always the outsider, always the man people warned each other about. He understood Titan in a way no one else could. Then Titan's nostrils flared. His ears twitched. His golden eyes locked on Wade like he recognized something there, something familiar, something broken but still standing. Wade took a breath that felt like a promise. $200. His voice carried across the arena like a gunshot. People turned, staring at him with wide eyes. Even Titan froze for a heartbeat, muscles tight, studying the man who dared claim him. Police Chief Tom Harding came down from the bleachers. "Wade, you sure about this? That horse put Billy Crawford in the hospital for 2 weeks. Men with more experience than you can't handle him." Wade pulled out his worn wallet. He counted 10 $20 bills, almost everything he owned. "Reckon everyone deserves one person willing to take a chance on them, Chief. No one else bid. Not one person wanted the risk. Sold." The gavel fell with a crack. "God help you, son. You'll need it." Wade walked toward Titan slowly, not making himself bigger, not showing fear. Titan watched every step with sharp awareness. His body was tight as a wound-up spring. The 4 handlers looked more than ready to hand over the ropes and run. "Easy there, Titan," Wade said in a low, calm voice. "I'm not here to hurt you. Not today. Not ever." Titan's ears twitched forward. His breath came fast but not angry. For a moment the world seemed to stop while man and horse looked at each other. 2 spirits worn down by life, meeting in the dust, searching for something neither had found in a long time. Dr. Elizabeth Murphy, the town vet, stepped up beside Wade with her medical bag. "Wade Kellerman," she said, "you've got guts. That horse has been through hell. Look at his neck." Someone tied him down with something cruel. She shook her head. "He doesn't need force. He needs time." Wade nodded. "I can give him that." When Titan was loaded into the trailer, people whispered behind Wade's back. Some said he was signing his death warrant. Others said the horse wouldn't last a week. Wade heard every word. He didn't look back. The old Fletcher place sat on 20 quiet acres outside Millbrook. A small house, a few old barns, and a round pen Wade had fixed earlier that month. He opened the trailer gate and stepped aside. Titan came out with lightning in his legs, scanning the new land, ears twitching at every sound. Wade opened the pen gate and waited without moving an inch. Titan hesitated. One step, then another. He entered the pen on his own terms. Wade closed the gate gently and backed away. "Take your time, Titan. No hurry." Wade spent the evening sitting on the fence rail while Titan explored every inch of the pen. The sun dropped behind the Colorado hills, painting the sky orange and gold. Titan's black shape cut sharp against the light, wild and powerful even in his fear. From the kitchen window, Wade watched Titan eat the hay he left by the fence. The stallion stood alert, listening to the night with the instincts of something born free. Wade understood that sound in his soft whinny, a creature calling out for something it lost long ago. "Tomorrow, we start fresh," Wade whispered. "You and me both." Titan lifted his head toward the house, as if he heard and understood. The first spark of trust had been lit. The Colorado dawn broke clean and sharp, washing the land in soft gold as Wade stepped out onto the porch with a bucket of grain in one hand and a brush in the other. Titan stood near the far corner of the pen, dark and alert against the rising light. His ears perked forward the moment he spotted Wade, not with trust yet, but with a cautious curiosity that was new. "Morning, Titan," Wade said softly, hanging the grain bucket on the fence. "I brought you something worth waking up for." Titan didn't charge forward. He didn't flare his nostrils or paw at the dirt. Instead, he watched Wade with slow, careful interest. Every move Wade made was deliberate, steady, patient. He settled on an upside-down feed bucket 10 feet away, far from Titan's comfort line but close enough for the stallion to choose. Titan stepped toward the grain only after Wade looked away, pretending he was just another quiet thing in the morning breeze. That was the first step. Over the next several weeks, they moved at the rhythm Titan said. Wade never pushed, never cornered, never tried to win by force. Titan learned Wade's footsteps, the rustle of his coat, the sound of his breath when he was tired, the whisper of his voice when he meant no harm. Groundwork turned into trust lessons. Trust lessons turned into grooming sessions. Grooming turned into Titan, lifting each hoof on his own. Every inch of progress felt like a piece of Titan's broken spirit stitching itself back together. One warm afternoon, Wade finally saw what he had missed before. While brushing down Titan's neck, he found deep, patterned scars hidden beneath the black hair. Scars that didn't come from wild mountains or rough terrain. They came from something far worse. "Dr. Murphy, I need you here," Wade said into the phone, his voice tight. She arrived fast, climbed into the pen, and pressed her hand gently against the scarred skin. Her jaw clenched. Someone used barbed wire on him. Wade. Somebody did this slow, on purpose. Titan watched them with wide, uneasy eyes, as if he knew exactly what they were talking about. Wade's stomach turned cold. Folks had called Titan dangerous. Folks had called him wild. Not one of them knew the truth. Titan had not been born angry. Someone had made him that way. That night, Wade stayed by the pen longer than usual. The stallion paced at first, restless from the old memories rising inside him. But as the moon lifted above the hills, Titan stood still and gave a soft, almost questioning whinny. "You're safe now, Titan," Wade said in a steady voice. "I'm not them, and I never will be." The next morning, something changed. As Wade walked toward the pen with a rope halter, Titan didn't run. He didn't turn his shoulder. He stepped forward instead, lowering his head with careful trust. When Wade placed the halter over his ears, Titan trembled. But he didn't pull away. That was the breakthrough Wade had been waiting for. Days later, when Wade finally saddled Titan for the first time, the stallion shook with remembered pain, but stood strong. Wade kept talking to him the whole time, slow and calm. "We're doing this together. One breath at a time." Titan's muscles stayed tight for a long moment. Then he let out one deep sigh and relaxed his neck. That single breath was more victory than any ribbon Wade had ever earned in his life. But the peace didn't last. On a Tuesday morning, the sound of tires racing up the gravel drive broke the quiet. Mrs. Elizabeth Harrison jumped out of her pickup, hair messy, hands shaking. "Wade, thank God you're here. We need help." She owned a small cattle ranch with her son. Her face was streaked with tears as she spoke. "Men came to our place before sunrise," she said. "Black SUVs. They said we had 72 hours to sell or face legal trouble. They tore up our yard, Wade. Poisoned some of our cattle. And they asked about you. They knew everything about your past, even the horse you bought." Wade's chest tightened. This wasn't normal ranch trouble. Someone was targeting folks on purpose. "Did you recognize the leader?" he asked. "No, but he knew your name. And he said someone wants old debts settled." Wade felt a chill run through him. He knew only one man who talked like that, Victor Randolph. A ghost from a part of Wade's life he wished he could bury. Wade loaded Titan into the trailer and drove with Mrs. Harrison back to her ranch. What he saw made his stomach drop. Broken windows, tire tracks, dead cattle left out like warnings, spray-painted words across the barn wall in blood-red paint. WK, some debts never expire, time to settle up, VR. Victor Randolph had found him. Titan snorted sharply, ears pinned forward. He sensed danger, real danger. Before Wade could finish checking the damage, dust clouds rose from the far road. Black SUVs, several of them, coming fast. "They found us," Wade said. He opened the trailer gate and made a decision that would change everything. He rode Titan bareback, something they had practiced, something Titan understood. The stallion launched forward like a thunderbolt, racing through the hills. The SUVs fish-tailed behind them, roaring across the land. But Titan was born for the mountains. He carried Wade across creek beds and hidden trails with the sure feet of a creature who knew how to survive. They climbed ridges machines couldn't reach. They crossed rocky slopes no tire could hold. Titan saved them in ways no tame horse ever could. By the time they reached Millbrook, both man and horse were shaking with adrenaline, but alive. Inside the police station, Wade explained everything to Chief Harding and Dr. Murphy. Randolph wasn't just after him. He was running an intimidation network across the West, crushing small ranchers, stealing land, ruining families. Wade's story gave the town a warning they desperately needed. That night, Titan stood in the small corral behind the station. He was calm, but his gaze followed every shadow. He knew trouble was coming. He was right. At dawn, Victor Randolph rolled into town with a convoy of black SUVs. He walked toward the police station like a man who owned the world. He called out through a megaphone, accusing Wade of being a military fugitive, demanding his arrest. Chief Harding stood tall. "Show a valid warrant or leave." "Wade stays under my protection," Randolph smiled. A cold smile, a dangerous one. Titan stepped to the fence behind Wade, ears pinned, muscles tight. His golden eyes locked onto Randolph with pure warning. Randolph paused, looking at Titan in a way that told Wade something was wrong. Very wrong. "Some animals never forget their first impression," Randolph said quietly. It sounded like a threat wrapped in a memory. Titan's body tensed. This fight was just beginning. Titan did not move as the sun climbed higher, but every muscle in his body stayed tight like a loaded spring. Wade watched the stallion's eyes as Victor Randolph stood outside the police station. Those golden eyes were fixed, steady, burning with a warning that came from a place deeper than fear. It came from memory. During the night, the town barely slept. Strange signals were picked up on police scanners. Drones moved above rooftops. Vehicles were seen on back roads that no one used at dawn. Titan sensed all of it before anyone else. He paced the corral, ears shifting at the smallest sound. Every time something moved in the distance, Titan lifted his head, ready to defend. Wade understood the stallion's message. Trouble was surrounding the town, closing in just like the ropes that once tightened around Titan's neck. By sunrise, Millbrook was trapped. Victor Randolph returned with more SUVs than the town had people. Armed men stepped out, spreading across the open land. Their movements were controlled, organized, and trained. This wasn't a group of greedy businessmen. This was a force prepared for a hostile takeover. Chief Harding gathered his deputies and a few trusted ranchers inside the station. Wade stood among them, hands resting on the windowsill as he watched Titan in the corral. The stallion wasn't frightened. He was waiting, ready. "We can't fight them head-on," Chief Harding said. "They'll pin this whole town down." Wade looked at Titan again. "Maybe we don't fight them head-on. Maybe we make them chase something they think they want more." Chief Harding shook his head. "You're talking about using yourself as bait." "I'm talking about buying you time to get proof," Wade replied. "You get your evidence, you call the state boys, the feds, anyone who can shut this down. I'll lead them out." Harding looked uncertain, but Dr. Murphy stepped forward. She looked out at Titan with eyes that had seen pain in many creatures. "That horse will run through fire for you, Wade. And he knows this land better than any machine. If anyone can pull this off, it's you two." Wade nodded once. "Then that's what we do." He walked outside. Titan lifted his head immediately. Wade opened the corral gate and placed a hand on Titan's neck. The stallion relaxed into his touch, breathing steady and strong. Wade leaned close and whispered into his ear, "We're going to lead them right into their own trap, partner, just like you did in the mountains." Titan snorted with certainty. He understood. Wade swung onto the stallion's back, bareback. Titan shifted his weight, proud and ready. Wade clicked his tongue once, and Titan moved forward with a calm power that felt like standing beside a storm right before it breaks. As they rode out of town, Randolph pointed at them sharply. "There! Bring me Kellerman!" Engines roared. Men shouted. Doors slammed. The chase began. Titan bolted across the open fields, hooves striking the hard ground like thunder. Wade leaned low, trusting the stallion completely. Titan chose paths only a wild horse could manage. He cut through narrow gullies, leapt fallen logs, and climbed steep ridges with the strength of a creature born strong and brave. Behind them, SUVs struggled. Drivers cursed. Tire tracks wobbled where machines could not follow. Titan pushed harder, guiding Wade toward the hidden canyons they'd explored in quieter days. The chase wound through tight turns, loose rock, and sharp drop-offs where one wrong move meant death. But Titan never made a wrong move. He carried Wade with purpose, as if he'd been waiting his whole life for this one test. Up ahead, the canyon walls closed in. A box canyon, one way in, no way out. To anyone else, it looked like a trap for Wade. But Titan knew better. Wade whispered, "Easy now. They're coming." They rode to the far end and circled back, keeping low behind a thick stand of rocks. Moments later, Randolph's men poured into the canyon like wolves chasing a wounded deer. They kept advancing until the narrow walls trapped them between stone and steel. That's when law enforcement struck. Chief Harding had coordinated with state officers during the chase. Deputies, rangers, and federal agents stepped out from higher ledges with cameras rolling, gathering every bit of evidence needed. They documented the weapons, the vehicles, the private military gear, and the orders shouted by Randolph's men. Randolph himself arrived minutes later, and he realized too late the canyon wasn't a trap for Wade. It was a trap for him. "You think this changes anything?" Randolph yelled, his voice echoing off the stone. Wade rode Titan forward from the shadows. Titan's hooves crunched on gravel as he approached. "It does," Wade said. "You hid behind power long enough. Now everyone sees who you really are." Officers moved in. Men were disarmed and handcuffed. Randolph fought, but his fight ended when Titan pinned his gaze with those burning golden eyes. Randolph's voice faltered for the first time. "Some animals never forget their first impressions," Randolph whispered. "Maybe," Wade said, "but they can learn who's worth trusting." Randolph was taken away in cuffs. Titan stood tall beside Wade, scars visible but no longer defining him. His wild mane lifted with the canyon breeze. He looked like a warrior who had reclaimed his spirit. Months later, Millbrook held its first Ranch Days festival. Children ran across the fields. Ranchers shared stories. The town was alive in a way it hadn't been in years. Wade stood beside Titan near the arena. Kids petted the stallion, laughing as Titan lowered his great head for them. His reputation had changed. He was no longer the killer Mustang from the mountains. He was the valley's protector, the horse who saved a community. Dr. Murphy walked up with a smile. Federal investigation is done, Wade. Randolph's operation targeted ranchers across 12 states. But because of you two, hundreds of families kept their homes. Wade looked at Titan with quiet pride. We just did what we had to. That evening, Wade and Titan climbed the hill overlooking town. The sky glowed orange and red as the sun dipped behind the mountains. Titan stepped close, gently resting his head against Wade's chest. It was the same gesture he had made the day they first trusted each other. Wade placed a hand on Titan's cheek. We made it, partner. Two broken spirits who just needed one chance. Titan breathed warm and steady. Their bond had carried them from fear to freedom, from distrust to loyalty, from being unwanted to becoming heroes. The horse everyone hated had become the heart of the valley.